The last meeting of this season is about to begin. Isn't this an intriguing reason for all of us to join in? To all of you who joined the meeting, we extend our warmest greeting. Every month we meet on Fridays, just the first and the third. We prepare inspiring speeches and enjoy the spoken word. After every presentation, we provide evaluation with the best intent, just to help our members grow. Dear guests, please be prepared. You may also be called on. Everybody should contribute to Table Topics Marathon. Whether you're a guest or member, we will ask you to remember your cell phones should be muted and the ether not polluted with the sounds of feisty pets. And there is one more request. Your unnecessary actions can be looked at as distractions. Let them stay behind the scene. For a while, turn off the screen. But as soon as you are done, turn the camera back on. And here is another warning. We are making a recording. If you don't want your face to show, it's no problem. Just let us know. And don't worry, in that case, no one will see your face. Let's get started. Take your places. Nice to see your smiling faces. Our president, Sandra, smart, kind, humorous, and more, is patiently waiting to take the floor.
We all have our mics off. Let's give Kamara an extra special for her opening.
Brava, Tamara.
Huzzah!
Before her, I never listened to Sergeant at Arms.
I know.
Same old. But now with Tamara, we get some variety, some humor. And, she probably spends a bit of time doing this each and every meeting. So we appreciate you, Tamara. Thank you very much. Well, good morning. And we have 3 people I would like to start off chatting with and getting to know a little better. 2 have come back 2 are guests, 2 are new members, which is exciting. And we have a returning member that we have missed for a very long time. Jack, would you like to introduce yourself to those who have not met you before?
Hello, Masters of Evaluation. My name is Jack Kaminsky. I'm a distinguished Toastmaster. My home club is Brooklyn's Best Toastmasters in Brooklyn, New York. And I am also an honorary member of Verbal Assassins. I've been a Toastmaster for over 20 years and have always enjoyed going to Masters of Evaluation meetings. Back to you, Sandra.
Thank you, Jack. And Jack was also a participant a long time ago with Vicki and I and a few others. We ran what did we call it? It wasn't a workshop. It was like a test group on how to get people to look at pathways in a new way. And I'm happy to say that has taken off. And some of our students in that focus group, are off doing those presentations all over the world as well. At the end of the meeting today, I'll put in the new version 6 catalog if you haven't received it already. This reflects the changes in pathways, which are not that huge, but we want to make it easy for people to pick a path, especially if you're new to the club. Now, you're not new to Toastmasters, but Gisela is new to Masters of Evaluation. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
I'm Gisela Bayens. I'm born in Brussels, Belgium, and I live about 40 minutes from Brussels, 10 minutes south of Waterloo, the famous Battle of Waterloo, which is English territory in Belgium, which is quite funny. I joined Toastmasters about a year and a half, an English group. I'm a member of Salisbury. I quite enjoy it. I dare to say something. And then I came to this group a couple of times and I joined. I enjoyed especially the energy, the positive feedback, people with a lot of experience and wisdom. So I decided to join this group. And I can tell you something personal. I had a big car crash in 81, slipped on ice at close to that experience. Steering wheel popped in the face, didn't break my glasses, but my face. Had lots of surgery done, and for a long time I didn't like public speaking because I had this little voice, the critic voice, who said, "They're gonna see your scar, they're gonna see your scar," and I didn't like it when people watched me too long, and I got over all of that. And so I said, this is my fear of public speaking. Let's get over it and let's get cracking. And that's who I am.
Well, welcome, and we're glad to have you with us. And we have a returning member as well, Dr. Gwen. Would you please tell us about yourself? You're quite accomplished, though, but you only get 1 minute.
Oh, hey, I'm a DTM. That means don't time me. 1 minute. Here we go. I am Dr. Gwendolyn Evington. I came to Masters of Evaluation as a second club. I belong to District 7, my home club, New Horizons Toastmaster Club, where I am getting ready in a few short days to end my term as the District 7 District Director. What a challenge. But the beauty of the challenge is it made me more ready to rejoin Masters of Evaluation and continue to hone my skills. I'm excited to see old faces and new faces. I'm glad to be home. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gwen. Now we have a little bit of business I want to conduct, and then we're going to turn our meeting over to Kathy. She's our Toastmaster of the day. But this is the last, as Tamara said, this is our last meeting of the season. And in the beginning of July, we start a whole new Toastmasters years with new club officers. In many cases, shuffled club officers. And we need today to present who the club officers who have put their hat in the ring are to you, and to have you agree that that's the team you want to help you. So I'm going to start off with a list. The incoming president-elect is Vicky Trabash. The incoming VP of membership, Trudy. The incoming VP of education, Dr. Gwen, how fitting. For secretary, we have continued to enjoy the services of John White, and don't take that in the wrong way. I will be the VP of PR, so you'll get a lot more of us on Facebook so that we can get our club even bigger than it is already. And I believe we have here, out of 13 participants today, about 12, with the exception of Jack, but we can always change that, are members. So we have more than half of our membership for a quorum here today. So Vicky, guide me here if I go off beat here. Anyone oppose any of the candidates? If so, Vicky, please take over.
No, I don't want to take over, but just ask for nominations from the floor, ask for a motion to approve the slate, ask for a second, then take a vote. Nominations first, second, ask for any discussion, then take a vote.
You know what? it'll be faster if you do it, Vicki. If
All
you
right. I'm happy to do it. So everyone, we have an opening for secretary, and anyone can nominate from the floor. Do we have any floor nominations for secretary? I'm sorry, treasurer, or any other role?
Oh, and I forgot Tamara. How can I forget her?
Oh, I don't know. That was so insulting. I hope you forgive her tomorrow. I'll talk to her later for you.
So I didn't look up enough.
I know. Okay. So no nominations from the floor? Do I have a motion to accept the slate as delivered?
I so move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor of the slate presented, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion passed. We now have our new slate of officers. Congratulations, everyone. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Vicki. I've never done that before, believe it or not, in 37 years. So I appreciate you stepping in to do that. But now it is time to start the meeting. And we have a lovely theme that was chosen by our Toastmaster of the day, Kathy Choice. I will let you unveil the theme and get the meeting started.
Thank you so very much, Sandra. And actually, just a little point of correction, I didn't choose the theme, Vicki did. And I don't, even though I am not a DTM, I continually am being told by Vicki or suggested. Vicki makes suggestions, which are really good. And so Vicki's theme for the day, which I agree to, is a penny for your thoughts. And I guess I need to back up and say to everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And I'm glad to see that you're here. But going back to Vicki came up with a penny for your thoughts after I ended up being voluntold to be Toastmaster. Yeah, you did that. And the reason why Vicki came up with that is because some of you know, some of you don't. I created a penny floor. I know it's one of those things of legend, but guess what? I really did it. And I'm going to share just a quick glimpse of what my penny floor looks like. Okay, so that's it. So I know that's where Vicki came up with the whole thing of a penny for your thought came from. I'll share the link in the chat so you can see the video on Instagram. But one of the things that Vicki also came up with before, which was, I think Vicki has something for the circus, because she made the comment about this being a circus. And I'm kind of really enjoying that. So what I would like to do with each functionary role is to really give you an idea of what they are. But that also aligns with the fact that in Toastmasters, we have functionaries. We do things. We're responsible for things. So I am going to put the twist on that for each functionary role. I would like to start off with Tamara, who is our Sergeant at Arms. And actually, what Tamara does is she is our experienced custodian. And so I think that that's exactly what she did, leading us into what to expect from our meeting. Very clean, very succinct. For Sandra, who is our president, of course, what else could Sandra be but our visionary provider? Okay. Also, for me as our Toastmaster today, hopefully I'm provoking thoughts, so I am the thought provoker. But of course, we have other members of the team that are going to make this meeting go off without a hitch. And first, I would like to bring or introduce to you is our Zoom master, who is also our what? connection catalyst. So, John.
Not here.
John. Okay, so I guess our connection is kind of buffering right about now. Okay, so is anybody okay, somebody's being that person. Okay. I don't know who it is, but someone is. Next, we have our general evaluator, who is our prospective weaver, and that is John White today. So, John, can you tell us about your role?
I'm a perfected weaver?
Perspective.
Perspective weaver. When it's all said and done, and you've gotten over the emotion and the shock and awe of just how great these speeches are, and my team will help. We and my team will help put some perspective on how well these folks did and areas for their improvement. I'm the general evaluator, and I will remind our evaluators of the MoE way, which is when we get to the speakers, the evaluator will share a little about the specific goals the speaker has, and then we'll yield to the Toastmaster who will introduce each of the speakers. At the end of the meeting, I will have some comments on the evaluators, and also there'll be a functionary report. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Excuse me, Mr. Perspective Weaver. Next, we have our word of the day, which I'm sorry I didn't get a role for that one, an alternate. We also have our grammarian, which is the word architect. And we have our counter, which is the flow monitor. And in that role today is Victoria James. So Victoria, can you tell us what you're doing in your roles today? And you are muted.
Thanks for that, Kathy. I am your grammarian today, so my job is to provide you with your word of the day. Posting that to the chat right now. Today's word of the day is copious. It's a noun, meaning large in quantity or number, too much, abundant, plentiful. As an example, as your grammarian, I will take copious notes while you are speaking. Indeed, I'm going to be tracking the number of times you use the word of the day in your speeches, including table topics, evaluations, and in your roles. And today's theme being penny for your thoughts, I am also going to be listening for linguistic, bright, shiny coinage and those dull arcade tokens, which oftentimes find their way into your penny jar. I define bright, shiny coinage as outstanding and remarkable language choices. Dull tokens are words that are falling flat and any improper grammatical usage. So an example of that, this morning I made espressos for my husband and I. Now, as the US penny loses purchasing power, remember to afford yourself the power of the pause. So I'm going to take note of any excessive use of fillers like like, so, but don't overthink this. Your natural language is best. At the end, I'm going to give a report awarding points for copious use of the word of the day and offering my observations on your linguistic choices. Thanks, everybody. It's great to see you, and back to you, Kathy.
Okay, thank you so very much, Victoria. And copious made me, of course, have flashbacks to being a nurse in the hospital. So thank you very much for putting a spin on that to take me out of that mindset. Next, we have our timer, who is our thought pacer. And today, our thought pacer / timer is Trudy. So Trudy, can you tell us about your role today?
Yes, I am your thought what you call pacer,
Yes.
and I'm pacing myself to find all the pennies you have on the roll while I'm counting the time. I'm not very good at words, but anyway, that's what I'm going to be doing. And the speeches, I would be looking at how long is the normal range of speeches between 5 to 7. So I will be showing you the colors. I would give you green when you reach 5, 6 when you reach yellow, 7 is as you on the dot on the line on your mark, and you make sure you start running really fast so you finish within 30 seconds. And that's basically my role for today, using copious time to get there. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Trudy. And thank you so very much for taking on your functionary roles, everyone. First, or as we transition into our meeting, first, I would like to introduce our first evaluator, who is going to be our insight sharer. And our first evaluator today is Dr. Gwendolyn Abington. Thank you so very much.
Not a problem. What did you call the evaluator?
Insight sharer.
An insight sharer. I hope to give copious insights to Michael and the audience as I evaluate his speech. I'm actually excited to hear this speech from Michael because he used a one word for his title. So I want to really understand what it all means as it relates to him as a 12-year-old. He wanted me to look at places where he was amusing to the audience and vocal variety. He hopes to have some intentional places that he uses vocal variety. So I am watching you, Michael. I look to enjoy your speech. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so very much, Gwendolyn. And our first speaker of the day is Michael Schaefer, DTM, and he is doing his speech, which I'm sorry I don't have an introduction for you, so I'm going from this. He's doing his speech from Pathways, Presentation Mastery, Level 1, Option 2, and this is the introduction to vocal variety. And the title of Michael's speech today is Upright.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I'm 12. I am an awful paperboy. You ever been so bad at something you would never tell anyone about it? You want to do it completely alone? Skateboard tricks, fielding a grounder on bumpy grass. Those are not my skills at 12. The only thing I really excel at is carpet surfing. Well, not surfing, more like doing a back float in my bedroom, not in a pool, just lying on shag carpeting. Shag carpeting is the closest thing to grass I want. Picnicking outdoors? Are you crazy? Dad's solution to my horizontal tendencies is chores. Lots of chores. And then the big surprise. Son, I got you a paper route. You're going to be making your own money. Getting paid to stand upright? I think I can do that. But I am awful at delivering papers right from the start. Picture a paperboy in the old movies on a bicycle, lobbing papers along a shady street, waving at Mr. Johnson. Hi, Mr. Johnson! Right? You can see it. My reality is pushing a steel cart with a copious amount of newspapers, 70 pounds of them, up a San Francisco hill and repeating it over and over every day. It feels like a Greek tragedy. This is how it works. I stop the cart. I take a newspaper, carry it flat, like a pizza box that has too many words on it, and no pizza. I clomp up the walkway, drag myself up the stairs, and drop it on the doormat. It takes hours, and the only thing I get better at the first week is cursing under my breath. Can't believe I'm just carrying the thing all the way up to hanging a put it right. My hands are covered in ink. The wave in my hair looks like a bad storm front hitting the coast. My right tooth is broken in half from trying to bounce a basketball in 6th grade PE. I am your customer service representative. Sunshine is my middle name. Norman Rockney, he's on the next street over on a parallel route up 22nd Avenue. He shows me, thank goodness, how to use rubber bands to make a tri-fold baton or a half-flat fold that I can flip like a frisbee. It's key information, believe me, because by the end of the month, I destroy many papers. I lose many others. I strip the front page, flinging them under security gates. They disappear in trees or neighbors' roofs. I soak bottoms on wet lawns. My cursing, it gets louder. I can't believe it to do this. But I finish faster. Just in time to see Norman and Eddie Chan zooming downhill on their carts, connected like a rickety go-kart. Oh, I want to join them. Hook my cart to theirs like a train. I want this very much. I turn 13. Did you ever have a light bulb moment that was 100% obvious to everyone else? After 2 months, I've delivered more than 6,000 papers. And this thought occurs to me. The more I do something, the better I get. It was kind of like a light bulb moment I had at 12 after 6,000 hours of carpet surfing. The sleep wrinkles on my back from laying on shack carpeting without a t-shirt kind of looks like cooked spaghetti. But now I'm 13. I am a paperboy, a news carrier, a vital distribution component in the what's going on machine. My throws are better. I've got extra papers for any screw-ups. I relax. I stop cursing. I read the headlines as I walk. Somebody named Angela Davis. Somebody named Patty Hearst. Something called Watergate? But most importantly, I'm done with my route and waiting for Norman and Eddie before they finish. I am ready for my go-kart ride. I don't sit up front and get to steer the first few times, but we all use our Converse high tops to brake before the intersections. And you gotta holler when you clang over manhole covers and slalom side to side between parked cars. It's scary. It's dangerous. It's the ultimate reward for a job well done at 13. And we get better the more we do it. And the more Dad buys me replacement shoes, the better he gets at thinking I'm wearing them out uphill, not down. And the money is amazing. I take the N Judah downtown on the streetcar to the Emporium. I ride the escalator up to the 4th floor, straight to the toy cars. So many toy cars. I'm having my midlife crisis at the beginning of my teens. But being upright has its benefits. A fleet of luxury cars like the Batmobile and James Bond's Aston Martin. Light bulb moment. Shag carpeting is for 12-year-olds. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so very much, Michael. All I can say is I had visions of all of that going on in my head and flashbacks. And what I would like now is for our timer to give us 60 seconds of silence. Okay, thank you so very much.
I'm a nouveau timer, not with copious experience.
Look, we're here amongst friends. We're all
Okay,
good.
thank you. Thank you.
We're all good. And I will tell you from my nurse background, what I would say is we're all good. No one died. Okay, we're all good. Okay, perspective. Okay, so moving along now, I would like to bring forth our second insight sharer, which is our second evaluator. And our second evaluator is Ray Sweeney.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, I think we're in for a cornucopia tonight of wisdom from Vicky with copious sprinklings of positivity. So Vicky will be giving us a speech from the Pathway Dynamic Leadership. This is the first level. It's about writing a speech with purpose. She wants me to look out for the call to action, storytelling, and tips on becoming a paid speaker. The title is How to Pursue the Perfect Speech for Purdue. Get your gums round that one. How to pursue the perfect speech for Purdue. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so very much, Ray. And I'd like to say that Vicky gave a paid keynote speech last week and is here to tell us how she did it well, and how we too can do it well, doing a paid speech. Please join me in welcoming Vicky Trebash.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And to all of you, I say last week when I gave my speech at Purdue, I didn't just, as I was standing on the stage, I didn't just share ideas, I shared a piece of myself. And that is key to giving a great speech. Today, I want to talk about the process, my experience, and some lessons I learned that I know will help you. Now, I've been a paid speaker for many years. I've been a Toastmaster for over 22. And I have to tell you that being in Toastmasters makes me a better speaker because I practice. And as I always say, practice makes permanent. I did copious work on this speech to make it work. And I'd like to share with you some ideas that can make you better. I was at the Purdue Women's Conference, and the title of the speech was Facing the Storms of Life, 3 Secrets. Now remember, everybody wants secrets, tips, ideas, and the power of 3 is very, very important. And when you share the power of 3, people are still with you. They're listening and they're waiting for the next steps. One of the things I did was to prepare for this. Last year, I did another speech for the group. I was in a breakout room. Now, for those of us who like to speak, I went to the main stage. There were 3 or 4 main stage speakers, and I thought, why am I not on the main stage? Breakout rooms are great, but I want to do a main stage speech. So last October, they had a call for speakers, and this is often the fact when you're doing a bigger speech. You have to submit a video, and you get 1 minute. And in 1 minute, I submitted a video, didn't overthink it, spoke from my heart, and told them what I wanted to talk about. They let me know in January that I would be speaking in June. And that made me think about, now that I got the main stage, how do I do it well? And these are the ways I want to show you what I did to do this. One of the things that's really important to do is to write out your speech. Now, what you're looking here are 2 doors in my office. One on the left is sticky notes. Those are all the ideas I had. And my 3 secrets were the power of focus and faith, the power of partnership, and the power of no. And as I started to think about the speech, I wrote out all these little sticky notes. Do what works for you, but think about how you want to break a speech down. So I had all these ideas, and then I put them under the different categories: the power of focus and faith, the power of partnership, and the power of no. And from that, I created my outline for my speech. Now, the other thing that's really important to do is ask questions when you are giving a speech. If I only asked you one question, how do you silence the storm inside of you and long enough to think? You might say, I don't know. I don't really care about that. And you're out. But when you ask 3 questions, you can usually hook your audience. So I asked 2 more. And the first question I was going to answer was about the power of focus and faith. The second one was the power of partnership. When your courage whispers, who helps it roar again? And the third question was the power of no. Which is heavier? The guilt of saying no or the regret of saying yes? And when I started my speech with those, I asked each question twice. Because, if you're just talking, how do you silence the storm inside of you long enough to think? When your courage whispers, who helps it roar again? Which is heavier, the guilt from saying no or the regret from saying yes? People get lost. So I slowly stated those questions, and I stated them twice. And I was just listening to the recording, and I heard audible from the audience. So I knew that I hooked him with that. The other important, as you can see, I had these questions on a large whiteboard in my office. Memorize your opening and closing. I should not be looking down at my notes when I said, how do you silence the storm within you long enough to think? I looked at my audience, I asked the question, and I would also shake my head. When your courage whispers, who helps it roar again? And my audience was engaged. I want to talk about not only the copious work of doing this, but also the importance of notes. Now, if you're a speaker who likes to memorize everything, good on you. I memorized my TEDx speech, but frankly, I don't memorize. This was an hour-long speech. But what I did was create note cards. Now you can see these note cards, they're on the board, and I did what's called a mind map. So I had a card for each portion of my speech. What you're looking at here is the front and the back. And I created this little logo, which was for the Purdue conference. And I was holding these cards, and I was watching other speakers. They were holding large sheets of paper, and they'd wave them and you noticed them. But with these cards, as you can see them with the yellow arrow at the bottom, they were small, but they kept me going and made sure I was doing what I wanted to do. On the card on the right, you can see the little arrow up to the 3. May I remind you, always number your cards, because if you don't, you're going to get lost. And if you get lost, you're going to hesitate. I also, you can see where the arrow starts, cannot face challenges alone. That's where I started the partnership. Then I have those little arrows, so when I look down, I can see. I also highlighted in blue the slides because I had a deck and I wanted to go to the right slide. When I gave metaphors, when I was giving away something, I gave away a basket from Rwanda during the speech, and I made sure that I didn't forget that. And then BU means boiler up, which is an expression at Purdue, which I had a call and response. And then I had ended each one with a discussion. These are just some of the ways that I shared my speech. And I'd like to talk about the power of humor. I think I'm pretty funny. Just ask me. But truly, when you're giving a speech, remember to use humor. Remember to tell people what you know and use humor. I let it go. I used so much humor, the room rang. And it let me know my audience was connected. And also, in a great speech, you go up and down. Don't keep them too high. Don't keep them too low. And then have a strong ending. And as I run out of time today, I just want to remind you that if you want to become a better speaker, take some of these tips. Talk to speakers who do it. And don't hesitate to reach out to me because I am here for you. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Vicki. And thank you so very much for your copious amounts of information that you have shared with us today. And Trudy, I'd like for you to give us 60 seconds on the clock so that we can give Vicki some words of what we thought of her speech today. And we're moving on. And we are now going to move into the table topics section of our meeting, excuse me. And I don't know if I said this earlier or not, but for our table topics master, they are what? The idea curator. And because of the fact that we do spontaneous evaluations here, the people that are going to be called upon to do the spontaneous evaluations, they are called the spontaneity reflectors. So I would like to turn our meeting over now to our table topics master, Sandra Savage.
Thank you. I want to remind you how we do SNAP evaluations. Kathy has provided us titles, but what we're going to do is I will ask you a question. You have 1 to 2 minutes. So the timer will be 1.5, 2 to answer. And then you better not have been sleeping on the job, because I'm going to turn around and pick on someone to give a SNAP evaluation. And you have only 1 minute to do that. Don't continue on with their story. Give them feedback on their story, their way of speaking, their organization. All right, I've got the first question, and Jack, you knew I was going to pick on you today. And I'm going to pick for you my favorite question about a penny for your thoughts. You have a magical music box. You can drop in a penny and it will instantly play your favorite song. What does your magic music box play for you, Jack?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Fellow Toastmasters, and if there are any future Toastmasters here, a penny for my thoughts is going to be an expression that is outdated. The penny is going away. And here I have my music box, and I can't find any pennies. They are no longer in copious amounts. They're no longer being minted. I am going to have to use a nickel. So here I am. I have the music box. I put in a nickel, and I am going to listen to Take Me Home Country Road. I think that's a nice song. A place where we want to be. A place where we're able to do things to make us feel well. Madam Table Topics Master, a nickel for your thoughts.
Very good. And John White, would you please provide Jack with a snap evaluation?
Of course I will. Of course, I took a business call while he was speaking, an emergency at work. I immediately loved his ending about how he upgraded the penny your thought to a nickel. I would have gone to $1, Jack, in these inflationary times. I miss Jack's thoroughness, his calm, and the way he delivers it. And I know there's always going to be jewels that you can't put a price on. So thank you for sticking to the monetary, and it was a priceless response. Thank you.
Thank you. Iman, I would like to call on you next. Is that how you pronounce your name, Iman?
Oh, good morning, Sandra. My name is actually pronounced as Iman.
Okay, thank you. Talking about thoughts, not so much about money, but about thoughts, what do you think is more valuable? Speaking your mind or holding your tongue?
When it comes to our thoughts, I would say holding your tongue is more valuable to me because whenever it comes to expressing our thoughts, sometimes not all the thoughts we may think of in the spur of the moment are the most pleasant. And especially if we want to keep our relationships with someone, especially if it's someone dear to us or a colleague at work, and you want to keep that long lasting relationship, holding your tongue is valuable, especially in hard times or sticky situations. And being careful of like what you say is something that will save you that relationship. And if you do not hold your tongue, that may result in either an escalation or it may result in later regret and or causing you to be in a situation where you have to ponder about how to refix that relationship over again. So I would say holding your thoughts in is more valuable to me.
And to get feedback on that, I'd like to call on, let's see, you've got an evaluation coming up. How about Gisela?
I thought that the whole delivery went very smoothly, and the process was explained clearly with, for instance, explanations of why she chose to holding her thoughts, which I think is important, especially in business situations. I like the way that use of her hands, the pacing was good, and the vocal variety, and she was very confident in the delivery of her speech and her thoughts. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Now we have time to do two more, and I've got a tough one. So I'm going to turn it over to Victoria James. I know you can do it. A genie offers to make one of your passing thoughts a reality. Which one do you hope it isn't?
Well, the genie just saw my passing thought about the prior table topic, holding your tongue. I am not good at holding my tongue. And when I think about it, in a business situation, yes, I would like to hold my tongue probably more often than I have in years past. But in other situations, I don't like the tendency to hold back too much. So the one thing I would hope the genie wouldn't latch onto and make really solid is a hard and fast rule about holding my tongue. So perhaps just finding the balance between the right amount to say and knowing when to kind of stuff it it would be my best bet. Thank you, Sandra, for the savage tabletop pick.
And Dr. Gwynn, I am going to ask you to give a snap evaluation on Victoria James.
Victoria, I thought that you weaved that very well. And I am so happy that you told us what I was thinking. It depends would have been my answer. Sometimes you have to speak your mind. Other times you hold your tongue depending on the situation. Thank you for that. I also like the fact that I could follow you. Your mind was just moving to think about, now, how do I weave this in such a way that it has copious diplomacy to it? I appreciated the evaluation that you gave. Thank you, Victoria. Back to you, Sandra.
Thank you. And we have time for one more. And I have a very sweet question to ask Mr. David. Are you there, David? If not, I'm going to have to give away my sweet question to someone else. Like Kathy. No, let's go to Mary Pryor. Are you there? No? Okay. Kathy,
I am here.
Hey, I was hoping you would join in. I have a question for you to answer in 1 to 2 minutes. What's one random thought that made a big difference in your life?
What's random thought that made a big difference in my life? I would have to say a person, a very special person, held that thought. And that person is my godmother, who many years now has passed away. But she stated to me many years ago, you are what you believe you can be. And my dream at that time never left me. And my dream was to become a nurse. She inspired me just with those few words. And I have never forgotten what a influence she was in my life. Back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
I see someone who looks so happy with that answer, and that's Victoria Travash. Would you give a snap evaluation for Mary Pryor?
Honored. You know, I was really hoping you'd call on me because I just wrote a note, Mary, in the chat I was going to send to you that, one, it's lovely to see you. And two, you shared a story today and words that will carry all of us. When we remember that those in our lives give us words and help us lead our dreams, it changes everything. I have nothing to say. And I usually do, as you well know, my friend, that I would suggest to make this better. I just want to say thank you for sharing your wisdom and your kindness, and I will carry your message with me today. Thanks for calling on me, Sandra.
And you know what? I found time to do one more. And Ray, you know it was going to be you. Have you ever found unexpected value in something most people overlook? You're on mute? Yes, Ray.
Sorry, I didn't hear you call Ray. Can you just repeat the question?
Have you ever found unexpected value in something most people overlooked?
Yes. And I continue to find it every day. And that is the simplicity of discipline. Now, some of you might say, yeah, discipline. I don't want to live my life like that. But it's the small things that we do, the small things that we put in place, the structure that we give ourselves that helps us move forward in the direction we want to go. And that could be anything. That could be your health and fitness. That could be your diet. That could be your personal life. It could be your aspirations. It could be your goals. But it's those small disciplines that we take every single day that launch us in the direction that we want to go. So yes, I have. And I hope by sharing that, maybe some of you will take solace in those copious nuggets of wisdom. Back to you, Sandra.
Thank you. And Tamara, we cannot forget Tamara. Would you please give a snap evaluation for Ray?
I was impressed by the copious number of small disciplines which Ray recommended us to use every day to make ourselves happy. And his discovery is very close to mine, so it resonated with me in a special way. All those little things which make our days brighter and brings more value, and it is very useful. He shared it sincerely from his experience, so he was happy, he is happy, and he wanted everybody around to feel the same way. So he shared, just as Vicky did in her speech. She shared her experience, and this is an important part of our club. We share our experience to make everybody around happy. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you. And with that, I am going to turn it back over to Kathy, but I do have a request of you. I would like to have you put in the chat, if you can, one thought that someone expressed during table topics that you're going to remember. And you can put, as your thoughts come to you, just type it in the chat, Kathy. Let's go on with our meeting.
Okay, thank you so very much, Sandra, as well as to our Table Topics participants who shared a copious amount of insight and inspiration today. Next, we'd like to move on to our thought pacer, aka timer, for Trudy to give us a timing report for Table Topics and the evaluations, please.
Did not put it in, but I can give you the table topic evaluation and the SNAP evaluation. Jack Kaminsky, 1.19, and the SNAP evaluation, John White, 30 seconds. And Iman Alami, 109, and Giselle Guest, 53 seconds. Victoria James, 103, and Gwendolyn, Dr. Gwendolyn, 46 seconds. Mary Pryor, I believe that's what she was, Mary Pryor, 1.16, and Victoria Trabash, 30 seconds. Ray Sweeney, 47, and Tamara, 1.9.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing me to say it, because putting it in the chat would be like copious stress.
No problem at all. No problem. And now I would like to turn our meet.
Could I take 1 minute though?
Yes.
I want to introduce some guests who have joined us and welcome them to the rest of our meeting today. Thank you, Aman, for your participation already in table topics. That's great. And where do you come from?
Well, thank you so much for the welcoming message, Sandra. And thanks so much for everyone for just being kind and patient with me today as I'm learning about Toastmasters. I'm from Los Angeles County, but I live near Pasadena.
And we have members from all over the world. So we like to find out where everyone's coming in for. And hello, Venice. It's good to see you again. Would you like to take a minute and just tell everyone about yourself?
Yes, Sandra, it's so wonderful to see you again. When I received your message and email, I thought, oh, fantastic. My name is Venice. I'm from District 71. Bedford Speakers, Cornerstone Communicators, and Luton Toastmasters are part of 3 clubs. And David, who reminded me that if we do meet at 6 o'clock, I'm not quite sure if it was 6 o'clock, I'm here. So thank you very much for welcoming me. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mary, thank you so much for joining us. We miss you and we enjoy, I actually especially enjoyed your table topic answer today. Would you like to take a minute and say hello to everyone?
Thank you, Sandra, for giving me this opportunity. Yes, I always enjoy being a part of this club. However, from time to time, I have been, for several reasons, not available, but it is always a pleasure, enjoyable, and my apologies for joining late, but I am very happy to be a member of this club. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. All right, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I didn't want to ignore our later joiner, the people who joined in. Thank you. So back to you, Kathy.
No problem, Sandra. And for this part of the meeting, I'd like to turn control over to our perspective weaver, or general evaluator, who is John White.
Great. Thank you very much. This is the part of the meeting I really look forward to. I know we're great evaluators. Do you ever hear speeches where you forget you're listening to a speech and it's actually a story and you're riveted and then all of a sudden you're like, what would I do with that? I would have paid to hear that. So it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Gwen Avington. I forgot about her smile and how that wonderful smile and presence. You get to evaluate Michael Schaefer and Upright.
Fellow Toastmasters and Michael, riveted is the word, John. I want to evaluate you from the stance of what I heard, what I saw, and what I felt in your speech. Upright was your title, so I was enthralled to understand what it was you were going to do with a title called Upright. I thought I heard a copious amount of vivid description from you all the way through, which is hard to do, Michael, in a lot of speeches, to have it from your beginning all the way to your ending and put a button on it with descriptive words. So thank you for that descriptive language. Things like walking away, cursing under my breath, and then later saying, and the cursing got louder. Rubber bands, and it's important. My right tooth was broken. Differing expressions such as that helped me to stay engaged in the story of from the perspective of a 12-year-old boy delivering papers. And then I understood when I saw what you were doing in your gestures to go with your words. I was so involved with the story that I kept waiting to see what you were going to do next in this upright story and turning cartwheels. The audience was absolutely engaged and amused by your story. I also, Michael, want to take just a very few minutes to tell you how I felt. You teleported me back to a young girl delivering papers and thinking about what that looked like delivering those papers for me. And upright made so much sense. The only improvement, and I know I'm racing against the clock, the only improvement that I would say for you, and it was difficult to find an improvement. Let me put that out there. But maybe in some of your gestures, you could have come closer to the camera, going away from the camera. I love when you spin and pivoted when you were speaking. That was brilliant. So doing the eye contact would be the only thing that I would suggest to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the copious descriptive words and beautiful speech. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you very much. You passed the test, I believe. Well done. Now comes another one. Mr. Sweeney, the art of discipline, and he will be evaluating Vicky Trebosh.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. The power of three. Reflection, experience, and lesson learned. I love the way Vicky set this up. We knew what we were going to get. And when a speaker hits the stage, there's three questions that you ask yourself as an audience member. Who are you? What do you know? And why should I care? So we know who Vicky is as a group here. What do we know? We know she has the experience. And why should we care? Because we know it's going to be valuable to us. So what I'd like to do is share what I liked and loved about Vicky's presentation. Firstly, it was educational. Storytelling. Now, we all know Vicky is a great storyteller. She shared her idea boards, and it was easy to follow with a how-to structure throughout. She engaged us with powerful questions. How do you silence the storm? She got us thinking. She heard the audience and the noises they made. And she gave us real-world experience about the mind map and the number cards. I also love the way she engaged us with talking about the power of humor, and I'll come back to that. But how do we take a presentation like this and elevate it to copious heights? Well, let me give you some feedback, if I may be so bold. You went into talking about humorous story, and that's exactly what I wanted to hear from you. I wanted more humor. I wanted to hear that real world experience that was humoristic and what happened to you and how you got out of it. Secondly, emotional shift. Now, Mark Brown, the world champion of public speaking, tells us if there is no emotional shift, there is no story. I wasn't emotionally shifted. So I would encourage you to think about that. Now, how could you make it better? Well, I think it deserves to be a workshop. So stretch it out and maybe put in a 7-minute speech in the middle of it that has that emotional shift and that personal storytelling experience. The power of three. You asked us for a strong call to action, what great storytelling and tips on becoming paid speaker. I think you covered all three. But in summary, I think this would work well, again, as a workshop. Lengthen it out, include that humorous story, and have a stronger call to action at the end. Move the audience. But Vicky, as always, we value your cornucopia of ideas and positivity. Gracias desde España.
Thank you very much. An excellent evaluation. And ending on perhaps the word of the day for next meeting, cornucopia. We now move on to our word of the day, grammarian counter Victoria James. Your report, please.
Well, it's funny you should say cornucopia because I believe in the definition I provided, it said think cornucopia, which is also a noun. And I actually left that out because I don't like defining a word with another word that I don't know the definition of. So today I learned copious and cornucopia are interchangeable. That being said, you guys did a great job with the word of the day today. I'm amazed. So we have 3 Masters of Evaluation who used copious 3 times, Ray, Gwen, and Trudy. 2 times were Vicky, Jack, and Kathy, and Tamara and Michael each used it once. Really good job on that. Amazing. So the thoughts and words that really jumped out at me today, starting with Kathy, I love voluntold. I might be a little out of touch, but I have never heard that before. That's great, and I'm gonna be stealing that. Michael, there were several things in your speech, but I'll mention a few. I love Dad's solution to my horizontal tendencies. That was so relatable to me. I felt that one. And I also loved soaked bottoms on wet lawns. It reminds me of the soggy bottoms from the British baking show, and you never want a soggy bottom. Vicky, I didn't write it down at the time. I was so taken by it, but your message on when courage whispers, I think it was how do we make it roar? I think that's right. Yeah, I felt that in my chest, Vicky. That was really, really, really good turn of phrase. Everybody, you did really well, I said, with the word of the day, but also with the power of the pause. So I was listening for filler words, and you guys you really are masters. There were hardly any. I didn't hear any excessive use of ums, ahs, so's, likes, any of that. So there I go. So for suggestions for improvements, I'm also falling a little bit short. Gwen said it's difficult to find improvements, and I found that to be very true. One thing I will say for everyone, I used to write poetry, so I'm listening for cliches, jargons, overused words because they just kind of tend to put people to sleep. So when you're writing your speeches, think about coining your own terms, your own turns of phrase. See if you can be a trendsetter. All right. That's my report. Thank you very much, everyone.
An outstanding valuation. You got a great ear, Victoria. You're contributing a lot to the club. Thank you very much. Now's my time for my evaluation as a general evaluator.
Can I just ask a question, please? Thank you.
May.
Can I interrupt you? I just want to give my time and then I have to leave. Okay. So
Please,
somebody can time you. And
you
I
have
know
time
you'll go
for
on
that.
and on and on and give a bit. Yeah. Okay. Gwen, Dr. Gwen, Gwen Aving, she was 322 and Sweeney was 245.
Great.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, but I have to leave. I think Sandra knows that. It's okay.
We now all know it. Thank you. Thank you very much for your report.
Okay, thank you.
So,
yeah.
I'm sorry, anything else?
No.
Okay, cool. So I'll now do the evaluation of the meeting itself. I come here to become a better evaluator. I listen to these great speeches and I just at a loss as to what I would contribute to, ways to improve. So I was very impressed by the speakers. I also like the little jewels that I'm reminded of that keep me going. And the 3 that I got was simplicity of disciplines. I am not a disciplined man. And for them to say, well, help us, and it's the small things, as if Ray was speaking to me, like, come on, John, it's not going to be as bad as it sounds. So the simplicity of discipline and how it can serve you in a variety of ways. The you are what you believe you can be. That was an incredible one. And then I don't know if there's anyone here that's emotional and prone to just sort of overreacting in the moment, but the cool, calm voice of Kathy Choice exclaiming, "We're all good. No one died." I know it's a low bar, but it's good to remember you still are breathing in the grand scheme of things. What's an and a or a carry on sentence when we're still breathing? Thank you for that. I'm reminded of, I was going to say even the great ones, but maybe especially the great ones do have structure. And they have that as the foundation for them to work their magic. I saw it in Gwen. I mean, where do you start with Michael's speech? I'm going to say what I heard, what I saw, and what I felt. And you're like, oh my God, I've heard that a million times. But then she did share exactly what she said she was. How many times have we said 5 things, Ray, and we give them 2? You said this and you delivered it, and it was a powerful thing. I don't know what I would have said to Michael, like rather than deliver the LA Times rather than the Examiner. I mean, like, I don't know what I would have given for content, but I will note that you took 2 minutes of saying what you heard, saw, and felt, and it was sort of a fangirl thing. And I would have been fanboy if I was in your position. Very little time on areas for improvement, which I had none. So I'm identifying a problem that I couldn't have solved, but it was notable to me. Ray, I don't know how you did it, but you mirrored the structure of 3. And he always says, not always, he has said from time to time, and it bears repeating, who are you? What are you going to tell us? And why should we care? I'm finding at this late stage in my life, I'm an overthinker. Life is complicated. If you can just distill it to the essentials, we're alive. There's 3 things. Mama told me this thing. It's a lot to carry us through this life. I'm sorry, I could get in my head versus just stick to the basics. And thank you for that, Ray. And Ray, another thing that you do really well, you give a lot of areas for improvement, and you take what seems to be a Toastmaster speech and you step outside the bounds of Toastmasters. Sometimes Toastmaster can sound limiting. You go real life, bigger picture. Next thing you know, you and Vicky are on the road and working in this. So it's not audacious, but I like your perspective. It's broader than what I sometimes feel like it can be. We can be narrowed in Toastmasters. So I like that fresh perspective. It was a great meeting to witness. It was great to see new friends and old friends return. Mary Pryor, it's always a good day when we see you. Venice, I think we've seen you once or twice. And so with this, I will turn it back to our Toastmaster of the day, who did a great job, Kathy Choice.
Thank you so very much, John. And to everyone that is here, thank you so very much for attending our meeting today, this morning, this afternoon, this evening, tonight, wherever you are. Because if you had not been here, this meeting would not have been the same. And with that, I turn this back over to our president, Sandra Savage.
Thank you, Kathy. In a moment, I'm going to ask our guests for a jewel that they wrote down from today's meeting and how that's going to help them in their communication and leadership skills. But before I do that, we have a couple changes coming up. Our next meeting is scheduled for the 4th of July, which for most of us, we are busy with family and friends celebrating. So we are going to not have the next meeting on the 4th of July. However, we're going to get an extra one this month, next Friday. If you can join us, we have something very spectacular planned, and I'd like Vicki to describe that for us and gather some roll takers.
Thank you very much. And I also want to say, on behalf of the club, Sandra, thank you for your leadership this last year as our club president. You did a wonderful job. You kept us going. You always did double duty as VPPR, but thank you for your leadership. Really, really appreciate it. Can we all come off
Here, 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 here.
Thank you, Sandra.
Seconded.
Thank
You
you.
rock,
Thank
Sandra.
you. Thank you, Sandra.
4 more years. 4 more. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Wrong guy.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. We are close to President's Distinguished Club. We need another member to qualify. And Pat Caslin, one of our members from Ireland, is going to give 5 speeches next Friday. And he's going to get us the level 2, which we need. So he is calling this whole thing glib and oily, which describes someone who speaks easily and fluently, but often insincerely and superficially. So we're going to learn how not to do that. And we have 5 speeches next week. He's going to do an icebreaker, an ethos, pathos, and logos, explain those terms, a tricolon, explain that, an anaphora and epistrophe, and an antithesis. So all that sounds super complicated. But what Pat is a master of doing is showing us how to use techniques. So stay tuned. Now here's what we need. It'll be a shorter meeting. We can probably do this in about an hour because you'll do 5 to 7 for each speech. So that's 35 minutes, 15 minutes for evaluations. So we invite you to join us, and we need 5 evaluators. So I am looking for volunteers right now. Back to you, Madam President.
Well, I would like to hear little gems and jewels from our guests, what they liked about our meeting, what they learned from our meeting, and we'd like to invite you to come back. More importantly, we'd like to invite you to become a member.
Yes.
So let's start with Venice.
Thank you very much, Sandra. First of all, I turned up late. And I missed all of those beautiful speeches, but from the evaluation, I appreciate your evaluation. That was really a speech within a small nutshell of a time. What I took away was from Victoria, she mentioned that she's a poet. And when you run out of things to say, and don't know what to do or add on as a recommendation, learn to get into the space where we are creating our own words that matches within the context of it. Just be a trendsetter with our own words. I love that. So thank you very much, Victoria. Appreciate.
And Jack.
What a wonderful meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I always learn so much when I'm able to attend, and I will certainly try to be here next week. I want to hear 5 speeches by one Toastmaster. It just blows my mind, just the thought of it. And also to hear the different evaluations. So I am looking forward to that. I put it down on my calendar, and I hope to see you all then. Thank you again for having me.
It was great to see you again, Jack. Our other guests had to leave early, and that means I don't think we've ever been this close to being on time. 2 minutes over. It's a record. So thank you all for attending today. I did put in the chat. If you didn't have a chance to pull it down, please do. Or you know where I live. You have my email address. That's where I live. And I will send the catalog to you. This is the version 6, keeping up to date with Toastmasters International, in providing you a resource that you don't have to go to Free Toast Host or to Toastmasters International to find out about your projects. You can actually look in that book. It's the exact same thing, not the full detail, but at least gives you, my favorite, a 1-page of your path. Gisela. Okay, so pull down the catalog if you haven't done so already, or you can email me or Facebook message me and I will get it to you. It is free to distribute to your other clubs and friends in Toastmasters. So enjoy, and I will see you all that are going to be here for our fabulous meeting next Friday. And we'll send out more notices about that and make sure everybody is informed, get the agenda up. And if we need to fill any more roles, I'll just pick. We're going to have a great time with Ray, and this is a real blessing to have him speak to us. He has been on the TEDx stage, and he has a lot of speeches with a reason, speeches with a purpose, and some great linguistic skills as well. So with that, have a nice Friday, great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.